And the Las
Yeah.
Vegas Raiders, I think, had a little questionable start to their draft, and they picked 7 players, 5 defensive, 2 offensive. An interesting note about that: both of their offensive players were offensive linemen. They are thin on the offensive line, so it makes sense why they took some offensive linemen. They basically had to overhaul their existing offensive line. So, taking a couple offensive linemen, and their first pick was Alex Leatherwood at number 17. Look, when we've been doing a lot of these mock drafts, Alex Leatherwood was there at 31. Alex Leatherwood was there at 58, and he was there at 63 sometimes.
Yeah.
I think ESPN tweeted out that there was a 68% or 60% chance that he was there at the end of round one. That was just from their little calculation that they had. A lot of league sources say that wasn't the case, that he wasn't getting past Baltimore. I think Benjamin Albright actually, from KOA up in Denver, said, "Hey, he wasn't getting past Denver, so I
Mhm.
mean it makes sense that why he went where he did, or not Denver. He wasn't going past Baltimore.
Sure.
He's from Denver. I just got all those towns mixed up in my head. It's all good. You guys get what I'm saying. Um, but Alex Leatherwood pick right there. I think he's a good player. It's just a little, all right.
It's a
It's
little
a value.
rich.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is a little rich. And Trevon Merrick, I like the guy as a safety. I think
Mhm.
that if you flip Merrick and Alex Leatherwood, then you're like, okay, those picks make sense. So like, if first round of number 17, they take Merrick, and you're like, all right, that makes sense. And then if they take at 43, Alex Leatherwood, you'd be like, okay, that makes sense too. But they flipped him in the opposite positions, which it's fine, I guess. I think after that, though, they really salvaged their draft.
Oh yeah, and we've talked about the whole, if you remove the rounds and you just look at the picks they got and the players, then oh, they
Mhm.
got Merrick and Leatherwood, that's fantastic. But seeing that they, with Darisaw still on the board, especially
Yeah.
with Leatherwood, like I'm not even convinced 100% that he's a right tackle in the NFL. He might be more of a right guard. I don't know if his feet are quick enough for that. But Divine Diablo, I thought it was a little high for him, but his athletic profile, absolutely insane. He can play that safety linebacker hybrid role, so I like him. Tyree Gillespie from Mizzou, that's a
Mhm.
really good pick. So they're going to have some defensive backs for days. The defense has always been kind of the thorn in their side. And then Nate Hobbs and was it Jimmy Morrissey? I didn't write it
Yep.
down. Was he their last pick? Okay,
Mhm.
so it's a solid draft. I mean, they got a few good players. I like Gillespie a lot. Diablo's potential is a lot better than people think. Merrick is going to be fantastic. And then Leatherwood, even though it is really high compared to where I would draft him, I saw a lot of people saying that he was worth that pick. And like one
Mhm.
team had him on their board as tackle 2 behind Penny Sewell, which is absolutely insane. I think that Slater is hands down tackled 2 in that class, and
Mhm.
then probably Darisaw, then Jenkins, then I don't know who, then Leatherwood probably. Like they're Leatherwood's quite a few spots down, but if they like him and they trust it, then more power to him. He's going to be a solid player in the NFL, I think. So overall, I would probably rank it Chargers number 1, Broncos number 2, Raiders number 3. And now my question for you, I'm going to flip it back to you, is where do the Chiefs fit in there? Would they be number 2 or would they be number 3, do you think?
Hmm. Uh, that's a good
Considering the picks
question.
they had, you know?
Right. They only had 6 picks, so
Yeah.
and they really got a lot better on the offensive line. The
Mhm.
offensive line overhaul was essentially capped off with this. That was the biggest thorn in their side, right? That
Yeah.
was their Achilles heel. Sorry, Jawan Williams, I had to say that, but
Ouch. Well, and
um,
sorry, Eric Fisher too.
yes, yeah, sorry, Eric Fisher. But speaking of Eric Fisher, Mitchell Schwartz is now the top candidate among Twitter people, for the Broncos to sign. So
Wow.
yeah, so that's as I see him rolling on here, they're saying, hey, how about Mitchell Schwartz?
I
Let's
just
kick.
don't think he has that in his heart to do, does he? But if no one else wants him back, I mean, it's a cutthroat business. He might.
Yeah,
He's a really nice guy, but being nice doesn't have to be a mean guy to go there and do that. I mean, it's a
yeah.
business. Like even Jamal Charles was a Bronco at one point, which is absolutely
Mm-hmm.
insane to think about. So, man, if he's healthy, I just want him to play. Like if it's in Denver, then so be it. But
Right.
it's he's always going to be a Chief at heart. I think Cleveland was a rough situation. Then he came to Kansas City and really made his career, I think, and had that success. Then Um, just the business side kicked in, and that's how it goes.
Yeah,
But that'd be interesting to see.
it would be. He's building a house in Kansas City, so I mean, he's got
He'll be
permanent
around.
resident. He will be. So back to what I was saying about the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs can kind of slot in there too because I was telling you about this. Dane Brugler said the Chiefs had the 23rd best draft in the league, which
Mhm.
I don't see. They got better at the positions they needed to get better at. I think
Yeah.
they clearly did, and then they planned for the long term as well. So I think 23 is a little whack when it comes to that. I could see them placing it too, but do you like that phrasing? Whack.
Yes. No, that was a fun way to put it.
Yeah, that's what we're gonna be calling it now. We're just gonna say that's whack. We're gonna start selling T-shirts that say
We should have a segment called "That's Whack."
probably, and we just like talk about really bad tweets and bad takes that
Yeah,
come out. That's whack. Just absolutely roast people. Um, but we'll
it's
see.
good for ratings.
Hopefully, it's good for ratings. But I think that the Chiefs probably slot in at number two. But the Chargers, I think, clearly take it.
Oh, for sure. And I mean, Denver did. They got Surtain. They got like there's the shock value of getting Surtain. Then you
Hmm.
look at the rest of it, and it's like Javante Miners, Browning, Stearns, Johnson, Williams. Like there's volume there, but like the
Yeah.
quality of the picks, like I gave the Chiefs a B. I think the Chargers would probably get an A or an A minus. I think the Raiders would get like a C plus probably. I
Yeah.
think Denver probably get a B or
Hmm.
maybe a B minus. I think they're right there with the Chiefs. Like you could flip flop that, but considering the Chiefs kind of had their hands tied behind their back in that they didn't have that first round pick, you I like their draft. I mean, it's not. I haven't met one person that said, "Oh, the Chiefs had a horrible draft." Even the people, I'm not going to name anybody because you can go on Twitter and see all of them
Yeah.
that said, "Oh, Nick Bolton's going to be a average at best linebacker. Or Nick Bolton sucks," and then um, Creed Humphrey's going to be an average center. Like they still got value, I think, throughout the draft. They got some guys like you shouldn't count on day 3 picks to pan out anyway, and the Chiefs got some good players there, I think. So I'd flip flop. Like it's hard to assert that the Chiefs are number 2, but I agree with you. I think I'd probably slot them there.